I'm calling the police. Now! Emma's finger hovers over 911. Her other hand grips pepper spray. Security rushes toward the marble reception desk of Chicago's Meridian Grand Hotel. The man she's targeting, Marcus Williams, checks his $50,000 Rolex Submariner with unnerving calm. At 42, he looks exhausted. Wrinkled jeans, coffee-stained t-shirt, worn sneakers from a red-eye flight. But his posture radiates quiet authority. His eyes, sharp and unyielding, scan the room like a predator. "Sir, this hotel costs $800 per night," Emma spits, her voice cracking from exhaustion after a double shift. "Are you even listening?" Other guests film frantically. Instagram Live notifications ping. The lobby buzzes with anticipation. They didn't know his name commanded boardrooms across the city. In stories of defiance that ignite the internet, some real-life stories reveal hidden truths about power and dignity. Have you ever been judged by your appearance, only to prove them catastrophically wrong? Marcus Williams stands motionless as Emma's accusations slice through the Meridian Grand's pristine lobby. Her name tag catches the morning light filtering through floor-to-ceiling windows. 26 years old, blonde hair pulled into a corporate bun, she embodies the hotel's polished facade. Still stinging from a recent reprimand for letting an unauthorized guest slip through, Emma wasn't taking chances. "Sir, I need to see identification and a credit card that actually works," she announces, her voice carrying across marble floors. "We've had issues with guests who don't match their reservations." Her words land like a slap, sharp and lingering. A businessman in a $3,000 suit pauses mid-stride. An elderly woman shifts uncomfortably. A young couple exchange glances. Marcus's jaw tightens, a flicker of old wounds crossing his face before he regains his calm. He reaches into his worn leather wallet, a detail that makes Emma's lips curl into a satisfied smirk. But what emerges stops her cold. A platinum American Express black card, reserved for the global elite. "This card," Emma stammers, examining it like evidence, "could be stolen." The commotion draws Bradley Hayes from his office. 43 years old, fidgeting nervously, he's climbed from bellhop to floor manager through careful political maneuvering and conflict avoidance. "What seems to be the problem here?" Bradley asks, though his tone already suggests whose side he's chosen. Emma's confidence resurges. This gentleman claims he has a reservation, but there are questions about his payment method and documentation. Bradley studies Marcus with practiced skepticism. The man's appearance doesn't match their typical clientele. Executive floor guests arrive in town cars, not looking like they've slept in airport terminals. "Sir," Bradley says, "perhaps there's been a misunderstanding about your reservation status. The Meridian Grand maintains certain verification protocols." In the corner booth, Ashley Chen adjusts her phone camera. She'd planned to film her breakfast, but this drama proves more engaging than avocado toast. "Guys, you're not going to believe what's happening right now," she whispers to her screen. The viewer count climbs. 247, 412, 681 people watching in real time. Comments flood the screen. "Is this really happening in 2025? Sue them! This is disgusting! Record everything!" Ashley angles her phone for a better view. The hotel's pristine reputation begins cracking in real time. Marcus remains calm while chaos swirls around him. He checks his watch. A Rolex Submariner date worth more than most people's cars. The gesture isn't lost on observant guests, but Emma and Bradley miss its significance entirely. "I'm calling security," Emma announces. Frank Morrison emerges from the back office. 28 years old, ex-military, his presence commanding immediate attention. "Is there a problem here?" Frank asks. "This man refuses to provide proper identification," Bradley explains, "and there are questions about his payment method." Frank studies Marcus with professional assessment. Something doesn't add up. The man's posture suggests confidence, not desperation. His clothes might be wrinkled, but they're expensive. That T-shirt is Brunello Cucinelli. Other guests inch closer, phones raised. The lobby's morning tranquility evaporates. Dr. Patricia Williams, a cardiovascular surgeon staying on the executive floor, steps forward. "This is embarrassing," she says directly to Bradley. "He clearly belongs here more than half these people." Her intervention catches everyone off guard. Emma's confidence wavers slightly. "Ma'am, we have protocols," Bradley starts. "Your protocols are discriminatory," Dr. Williams cuts him off. "And everyone's recording it." Marcus finally speaks, his voice cutting through the noise with quiet authority. "May I use your house phone?" The simple request catches everyone off guard. Not a plea for mercy or angry protest, just a polite question that somehow carries weight. Emma hesitates. "I suppose that's allowed." Marcus walks to the concierge desk with measured steps. Every movement suggests someone accustomed to being obeyed, not questioned. He lifts the ornate gold receiver and dials 3 numbers. 001. The executive floor direct line. The number only VIPs know. "Conference room A," he says simply. 10 minutes. His voice carries across the lobby's acoustic perfection. Emma's hand freezes on the phone, her smirk vanishing. Bradley shifts uncomfortably. Frank's professional instincts suddenly scream danger. Ashley's Instagram Live hits 1,200 viewers. Comments explode faster than she can read them. "Something's happening," she whispers to her audience. "This guy just made some kind of phone call and everyone's acting weird." Emma studies Marcus with new uncertainty. The way he holds himself, the casual authority in his voice, the fact that he knew the executive floor direct line, pieces of a puzzle she can't quite solve. "Sir," she says, her voice less certain than before, "if you could just provide identification." Marcus turns from the phone, his expression unreadable. He reaches into his back pocket and produces something that makes Bradley's face drain of color. A hotel keycard. Not just any keycard, executive floor access. "Will this suffice?" Marcus asks. Emma's hand freezes completely. Bradley takes an involuntary step backward. Frank removes his hand from his radio. The lobby falls silent except for the soft ping of Ashley's Instagram notifications. 1,847 viewers and climbing. As Marcus pocketed the keycard, the lobby's silence signaled a story that would soon escape these marble walls, becoming one of those real-life stories that expose the dangerous intersection of prejudice and power. The biometric access card transforms the atmosphere instantly. Emma stares at it like evidence of her own downfall. Bradley's nervous fidgeting intensifies into visible trembling. Frank steps back, his military training recognizing a shift in power dynamics he doesn't understand. But desperation breeds defiance. Emma's voice cracks. "Anyone could have stolen that card. Hotel keys go missing all the time." Her words sound hollow. The executive floor uses fingerprint scanners. Theft would trigger immediate alerts. No alarms have sounded. Dr. Patricia Williams crosses her arms. "Young lady, you're digging yourself into a very deep hole." A housekeeping supervisor, Maria Santos, recognizes Marcus from previous stays and whispers urgently to her colleague. The whisper spreads like wildfire among staff who suddenly realize their mistake. Ashley's live stream count hits 2,100 viewers. Comments explode. "Call the news! This hotel is about to get destroyed. Someone find out which hotel this is." Upstairs, Sarah Chen receives a frantic call from her assistant. "Ma'am, situation in the lobby. Social media is exploding. Our reputation system just flagged multiple mentions." Sarah's stomach sank, the weight of a PR nightmare settling in. 20 years in luxury hospitality taught her that viral videos destroy hotels within hours. "How bad?" she asks, already reaching for her jacket. 1,700 Instagram viewers and climbing. #Meridian gate is trending in Chicago. As Jennifer Martinez stormed in with her cameraman, the lobby transformed into a battlefield. Someone had called the tip 15 minutes ago. She'd covered dozens of discrimination stories, but something about this felt different. The man at the center didn't look angry or defeated. He looked patient, like he was orchestrating something. "Excuse me," Jennifer approaches Marcus. "I'm Jennifer Martinez from Channel 7. Would you comment on what's happening?" Marcus studies her press badge, then glances at her cameraman. For a fleeting moment, his calm wavered, memories of past slights flickering in his eyes before composure returned. "Not yet," he says simply. "But you might want to keep recording." Frank calls for backup. Additional guards arrive, along with off-duty Officer Rodriguez. The lobby resembles an occupation force. "What's the situation?" Rodriguez asks quietly. "Honestly, I'm not sure anymore. Started as potential trespassing, but now..." Frank gestures helplessly at the cameras, the phones, the growing crowd. Rodriguez studies Marcus with cop instincts. Real troublemakers don't stand this calmly while surrounded. They don't check expensive watches or speak with quiet authority to reporters. "Has he broken any laws?" Rodriguez asks. "No," Frank admits. "He's been completely cooperative." Rodriguez leans closer to Frank. "You know what? I think this guy's a VIP. Something about him screams money and power." The observation sends chills through nearby staff. Her tailored suit screaming authority, Sarah emerges from the elevator. Her phone buzzes constantly. Corporate headquarters, regional directors, CEO's office demanding reports. Meridian's stock has dropped 2 points in pre-market trading. Crisis management teams scramble to contain damage spreading faster than they can track. "Sir," Sarah says carefully, "I apologize for any misunderstanding. Perhaps we could discuss this privately in my office." Marcus tilts his head slightly. "Ms. Chen, isn't it?" The fact that he knows her name without introduction stops everyone cold. Sarah's face pales. "How do you—" "Your reputation precedes you," Marcus says. 20 years in hospitality. You've done excellent work here." The compliment sounds genuine, but his tone suggests finality, like delivering a eulogy. Emma tries desperately to salvage something. "Sir, I was just following protocol. I didn't mean to—" Sarah cuts her off with a sharp gesture, recognizing damage control is impossible. Ashley's stream catches Chicago Scene's attention, a local blog with 500,000 followers. Their repost launches the story across platforms. Twitter, TikTok, Facebook explode. Meridian gate trends in 12 major cities. Local news stations mobilize. The Tribune assigns reporters. Comments flood social media. "I'm never staying at Meridian hotels again." "Boycott Meridian." "That man is handling this with incredible grace." In the lobby, Marcus remains an island of calm. He watches chaos unfold with detached interest, like someone who's orchestrated this before. Marcus checks his Rolex deliberately, ceremonially. Ashley adjusts her phone angle. Jennifer signals her cameraman to focus. Dr. Patricia steps closer, fascinated. "1 minute," he says to no one in particular. The elevator chimes. A single man emerges. David Harrison, Marcus's longtime business partner and attorney. No theatrical entrance, just quiet confidence as he approaches with the respect reserved for heads of state. "Mr. Williams," David says simply, "we've been waiting upstairs." The words hit like a physical force. Emma's knees buckle. Bradley grabs the reception desk. Sarah's mouth falls open. Mr. Williams, not a transient, not a troublemaker, someone important enough to have executives waiting. Rodriguez whispers to Frank, "Told you so. This guy's connected." As implications sink in, Marcus looks around the lobby one final time. His gaze lingers on news cameras, phones still recording, witnesses who just watched something unforgettable. He approaches Emma, his voice gentle but carrying absolute authority. Sometimes the most expensive lessons come from the cheapest assumptions. The man they tried to remove controls the empire behind these walls. As the executives flanked him, Marcus's gaze met Emma's, a silent promise of consequences that would reshape everything she thought she knew about power. The elevator doors close behind Marcus Williams and David Harrison with the finality of a judge's gavel. The lobby remains frozen in shocked silence, broken only by the soft ping of Ashley's Instagram notifications. Her viewer count has exploded to 4,200 people watching live. Sarah Chen stands paralyzed, her 20 years of crisis management experience suddenly useless. Emma clutches the reception desk like a life preserver, her face drained of all color. Bradley has stopped fidgeting entirely. Shock has rendered him motionless. "Did he just say Williams?" Dr. Patricia whispers to no one in particular. Maria Santos, the housekeeping supervisor, suddenly gasps, "Dios mío, that's Mr. Williams, the owner." Her whisper spreads like wildfire among staff who suddenly realize their catastrophic mistake. Marcus removes his wrinkled jacket and reaches into a concealed closet behind mahogany panels. Inside hangs a fresh Armani suit, pressed shirt, Italian leather shoes. The transformation takes 3 minutes. When he emerges, Marcus Williams looks like exactly what he is, a billionaire CEO who controls a hospitality empire spanning 4 continents. David Harrison, his business partner for 15 years, shakes his head. "You know, most people would have revealed themselves immediately. Why put yourself through that humiliation?" As he faced the skyline, a flicker of old pain crossed Marcus's mind. Decades of slights that led to this moment. "Because, David, 3 years ago, my nephew faced the same treatment at a competitor's hotel. He was 22, wearing his college sweatshirt, and they called security. I decided then that I'd never let this happen in any property I could control. Today wasn't about punishing ignorance. It was about preventing it from happening to the next person who doesn't own the building." Marcus activates the conference room's communication system. His voice, now carrying the full weight of his authority, echoes through hidden speakers throughout the hotel. "This is Marcus Williams, Chairman and CEO of Meridian Hotel Group. All department heads, please report to Conference Room A immediately." The announcement hits the lobby like a physical blow. Emma's legs give out completely. She collapses into her chair, hyperventilating. I need to apologize. Please, I didn't know." But her pleas fall on empty air. The damage is done. Bradley's face turns ashen as he realizes his career just ended. Ashley's livestream chat explodes. "Oh my God, he owns the hotel. Plot twist of the century." Emma is so fired. This is better than any movie. Jennifer Martinez, veteran reporter, recognizes the magnitude of the story she's witnessing. This isn't just discrimination. It's a billionaire CEO conducting an undercover investigation of his own properties. This is Jennifer Martinez reporting live from the Meridian Grand Hotel, where we've just witnessed an extraordinary revelation. The guest who was discriminated against by hotel staff is actually Marcus Williams, the CEO and owner of the entire hotel chain. Bye. Within minutes of Marcus's announcement, Meridian Hotel Group's crisis management protocols activate. In corporate headquarters across Chicago, executives scramble. The company's reputation, built over 40 years, hangs in the balance. Legal counsel calls emergency sessions. PR firms deploy damage control teams. But Marcus Williams has been 3 steps ahead of them all. Department heads file in, their faces showing confusion and growing dread. Sarah Chen enters last, her composure finally cracking. She's worked directly under Marcus for 5 years but has never seen this side of him. "Please, sit," Marcus says, his tone calm but carrying absolute authority. On the conference table lie printed screenshots from Ashley's live stream, transcripts of recorded conversations, and a comprehensive file that makes everyone's pulse quicken with dread. "Ladies and gentlemen," Marcus begins, For the past 3 months, I've been conducting unannounced visits to our properties. Today's experience at our flagship location has been illuminating. He activates a wall display showing real-time social media metrics. Meridian Gate has now spread to international platforms. The story is trending in 15 countries. In the past hour, our brand has suffered approximately $12.3 million in reputation damage. Our stock price has dropped 4.2%. Booking cancellations are streaming in. David Harrison, who'd seen Marcus rise from nothing, knew this wasn't just business. It was personal. He distributes legal documents. What you're looking at are preliminary findings of a 3-month investigation into discriminatory practices across our hotel chain. Today's incident wasn't isolated, it's part of a pattern. There Marcus clicks through damning statistics. Minority guests face verification requests at triple the rate of others. Security calls involving people of color are 280% more frequent, despite representing only 23% of our clientele. The numbers hang in the air like accusations. Room upgrade requests from minority guests are denied at twice the rate of identical requests from white guests. Our own internal cameras have recorded 47 instances of discriminatory language in the past 6 months. Sarah Chen's voice barely whispers, "Marcus, I had no idea." That's precisely the problem, Sarah. You had no systems in place to monitor this. You had no training to prevent it. You had no accountability measures to address it. David Harrison opens his briefcase with surgical precision. Mr. Williams has the authority to terminate any employee for cause under Section 3.2 of our Employee Handbook. Discrimination based on race, appearance, or perceived economic status. He slides termination papers across the table. Emma Rodriguez, Bradley Hayes, and Frank Morrison are hereby terminated effective immediately. Emma's desperate plea from downstairs echoes in their minds, but mercy has its limits. Additionally, David continues, our legal team has documented potential violations of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Title II, Public Accommodations. While Mr. Williams chooses not to pursue criminal charges, the company faces significant liability exposure. But Marcus Williams doesn't want revenge. He wants revolution. However, he announces, causing everyone to look up from their despair, this crisis presents an opportunity. We're going to pilot a new standard for fairness. He clicks to the next slide. Project Dignity. Starting with 5 flagship properties, every guest interaction will be monitored for bias patterns. Staff will receive monthly training. Anonymous reporting systems will be mandatory. Furthermore, we're partnering with the NAACP and Anti-Defamation League to develop these new protocols. David adds, the board has approved a $15 million pilot budget. Full rollout depends on 6-month results. Sarah Chen's voice breaks the stunned silence. Marcus, my career is over, isn't it? Marcus studies the woman who built her reputation on preventing exactly this type of crisis. Sarah, you're not fired. You're being promoted. I'm making you our first Chief Diversity Officer. Your job is to ensure this never happens again, anywhere in our organization. The unexpected mercy shocks everyone. Dr. Patricia Williams, who'd witnessed everything, speaks from the doorway. Mr. Williams, I've been a guest here for 5 years. What you're doing, this is leadership. Marcus turns to face the window, Chicago stretching endlessly below. In 30 minutes, I'm giving a press conference. We're not hiding from this story, we're leading it. Every news outlet in the country will hear how a hospitality company turned a discrimination crisis into a catalyst for industry transformation. David nods approvingly. The press release is already drafted. Major networks are requesting interviews. Downstairs, Ashley's live stream has become a phenomenon. Her viewer count hits 8,500. Comments pour in from around the world. This man is a legend. How to handle discrimination like a boss. Meridian just became my favorite hotel chain. This is how you create change. The story has evolved from discrimination exposure to corporate transformation. Marcus Williams isn't just a victim, he's a visionary using his own humiliation to reshape an entire industry. As department heads file out to implement immediate changes, Marcus calls Sarah back. "There's one more thing you should know," he says quietly. "This wasn't the first time. I've experienced discrimination at hotels, restaurants, exclusive clubs throughout my career. The difference is, now I have the power to do something about it." Sarah understands now. Marcus Williams didn't just reveal his identity, he revealed his mission. Transform humiliation into accountability. Turn prejudice into progress. The guest they scorned just revolutionized the industry that dismissed him. As Marcus prepared for his press conference, he carried not just his story, but a blueprint for change. Department heads dispersed, whispers of transformation echoing beyond the room, the beginning of something larger than revenge, deeper than justice. Sometimes the most powerful response to being underestimated is proving that your true power was never in question. The Meridian Grand's ballroom has been transformed into a media battlefield. 23 news outlets crowd the space. Camera lights blaze. Reporters check their equipment one final time. Marcus Williams enters wearing his Armani suit, flanked by David Harrison and Sarah Chen. The transformation from this morning's exhausted traveler to commanding CEO is complete, but the memory of humiliation still burns in his eyes. Ashley continues live streaming from the back, her viewer count now exceeding 12,000. Comments flood in from around the world as the story reaches international news cycles. "Ladies and gentlemen," Marcus begins, his voice carrying across the room with quiet authority. "This morning at approximately 9:47 a.m., I experienced discrimination in the lobby of my own hotel." The admission sends shockwaves through the assembled media. CEOs don't typically admit to being victims. They certainly don't hold press conferences about it. "I want to share with you exactly what happened, why it happened, and what we're going to do to ensure it never happens again." Marcus doesn't soften the details. He recounts Emma's words verbatim, Bradley's assumptions, the security escort threat. He shows screenshots from Ashley's live stream, plays audio recordings captured by hotel security systems. "The receptionist told me this wasn't a homeless shelter. The manager questioned my situation. Security was called because I had the audacity to book a room while appearing tired from travel." Jennifer Martinez raises her hand. "Mr. Williams, how do you respond to critics who might say this was a publicity stunt?" Marcus's jaw tightens slightly. "Ms. Martinez, I've built a billion-dollar company over 20 years. I don't need publicity stunts. What I need is an organization that reflects the values I thought we already embodied." He activates a wall display showing internal data that makes the room gasp. "These numbers represent 3 months of investigation across our 347 properties worldwide. The patterns are undeniable." Yay. The screen shows cold, hard data. Minority guests, 340% higher verification request rate. Security incidents, 280% more frequent for people of color. Upgrade denials, 200% higher for minority guests. Complaint resolution time, 60% longer for non-white guests. At our Miami property, a black doctor was asked to prove he could afford a $200 room while showing a platinum credit card. At our Los Angeles location, a Latino tech executive was questioned for 30 minutes about his legitimate business purpose for booking the penthouse suite. The room falls silent. These aren't abstract statistics. They're documented patterns of systemic bias. Dr. James Robertson from CNN raises his hand. "Mr. Williams, what's your personal liability in allowing this culture to develop?" It's the question Marcus has been expecting and dreading. "Dr. Robertson, that's the most important question of the day," Marcus responds. "As CEO, I am ultimately responsible for every interaction that happens in our properties. I failed to create systems that would prevent bias. I failed to monitor our own behavior. I failed the guests who experienced discrimination, and the employees who perpetuated it. The admission is unprecedented. Corporate executives typically deflect blame, hire crisis management firms, issue carefully worded non-apologies. Marcus is taking full accountability on live television. But responsibility isn't just about admitting failure. It's about taking action to fix it. Sarah Chen steps forward, her new role as Chief Diversity Officer already reshaping her identity. Project Dignity represents the most comprehensive bias monitoring system ever implemented in the hospitality industry. She clicks through detailed presentations. Phase 1 begins immediately at 5 flagship properties. Every guest interaction will be recorded and analyzed using AI systems trained to detect discriminatory language, tone, and behavior patterns. Staff will receive mandatory monthly bias training developed in partnership with the NAACP, Anti-Defamation League, and Southern Poverty Law Center. Anonymous reporting systems will allow both guests and employees to document incidents in real time with guaranteed response within 24 hours. David Harrison adds the legal framework. Any employee exhibiting discriminatory behavior will face immediate termination. No warnings, no second chances. Discrimination is not a training issue. It's a character issue. Marcus retakes the podium. This initiative has a 6-month budget of $15 million. If successful, we'll expand it company-wide with a total investment of $50 million over 2 years. A reporter from the Wall Street Journal asks, "Mr. Williams, how do you justify this expense to shareholders?" Because discrimination isn't just morally wrong, it's financially devastating. Today's incident has already cost us $12.3 million in brand damage. Our stock dropped 4.2% in pre-market trading. Booking cancellations are pouring in. He pauses, letting the numbers sink in. But more importantly, we're losing customers we never knew we were alienating. How many potential guests have walked away from our properties without booking because they sensed they weren't welcome? How many have shared their negative experiences with friends and family? Marcus's tone shifts from corporate presentation to moral imperative. This isn't just about Meridian hotels. This is about an entire industry that has normalized subtle discrimination. How many black travelers choose Airbnb over hotels because they're tired of being questioned? How many Latino families avoid luxury properties because they expect to be treated as unwelcome? How many Asian business travelers book competitors because they know they won't face verification harassment? The questions hang in the air like accusations directed at every hospitality company in America. Ashley's live stream chat explodes with personal stories. This happened to me at a Hilton last year. Marriott did the same thing to my father. I always book with my white friend's name now. A reporter from the Chicago Tribune asks, "Mr. Williams, on a personal level, how did this morning's experience affect you?" For the first time during the press conference, Marcus's composure wavers slightly. "It reminded me that no amount of success shields you from prejudice. I've been building hotels for 20 years, employing thousands of people, contributing millions in taxes. None of that mattered when I walked into that lobby looking tired. But it also reminded me that I have a responsibility. I have resources, influence, and a platform. If I don't use them to create change, who will?" Sarah Chen addresses the terminations. Emma Rodriguez, Bradley Hayes, and Frank Morrison were terminated this morning. Some might argue this was too harsh. But here's what I've learned in 20 years of hospitality management. Bias training only works if people want to change. These employees exhibited patterns of behavior that training couldn't fix. However, we're offering them an opportunity. If they complete a comprehensive bias education program at their own expense and demonstrate genuine understanding of their actions' impact, we'll provide positive references for employment elsewhere. It's a nuanced approach, consequences with compassion, accountability with redemption possibilities. David Harrison unveils the technical specifications. Our AI monitoring system analyzes voice stress patterns, facial microexpressions, and language choices to identify potential bias indicators. This isn't about spying on employees. It's about creating objective feedback mechanisms. If the system flags a potential issue, it triggers immediate supervisor review and additional training opportunities. We're also implementing mystery guest programs where trained evaluators pose as customers to test our bias monitoring effectiveness. Marcus issues a direct challenge to the industry. I'm calling on every major hotel chain to implement similar monitoring systems. Share our data, learn from our mistakes. Let's make discrimination unprofitable across the entire hospitality sector. If Hyatt, Marriott, Hilton, and others join this initiative, we can reshape how millions of travelers experience hospitality. The gauntlet has been thrown. Marcus isn't just reforming his own company. He's challenging competitors to match his standards or face public comparison. As the press conference concludes, Marcus delivers his final message. This morning, I was humiliated in my own lobby. Tonight, thousands of travelers will check into our hotels knowing they'll be treated with dignity, regardless of their appearance, accent, or assumptions about their economic status. We can't undo the discrimination that happened today, but we can ensure it never happens again. That's not just a business strategy, it's a moral imperative. The ballroom erupts in questions, but Marcus has said everything he came to say. As he exits, Ashley's live stream count hits 15,000 viewers. The story has transcended hotel discrimination. It's become a masterclass in corporate accountability. The man they tried to escort out just challenged an entire industry to examine its soul. Emma Rodriguez sits in her studio apartment, scrolling through job applications on her laptop. The termination letter from Meridian sits on her kitchen table beside a brochure for the bias education program Sarah Chen mentioned. 3 weeks of unemployment have given her time to reflect on that morning in ways she never expected. The program costs $3,000, money she doesn't have. But the alternative is explaining her termination reason to every potential employer. Fired for discrimination doesn't look good on applications. Her phone buzzes with a text from her sister. Saw the news again. How are you holding up? Emma stares at the message. How is she holding up? 3 weeks ago, she thought she was protecting the hotel. Now she understands she was protecting her own prejudices. Bradley finds himself working at a mid-tier hotel chain in the suburbs, his salary cut by 40%. The manager who hired him knew about his termination. Word travels fast in hospitality circles, but needed experienced staff. You realize you're lucky to be working at all, his new boss told him during orientation. What happened at Meridian is becoming a case study in business schools. You're infamous. The sting of that word, infamous, follows Bradley through his days. He's enrolled in the bias education program, paying installments he can barely afford. Not because Sarah promised a reference, but because he can't sleep at night remembering Marcus Williams's calm dignity while being humiliated. Frank transitions back to private security, but the Meridian incident haunts him. In the military, he learned to assess real threats. Marcus Williams was never a threat. Frank knew that within minutes. Yet he participated in the escalation anyway. During his bias education classes, Frank encounters other professionals confronting their prejudices. Police officers, teachers, healthcare workers. They share stories that make him realize discrimination isn't just a hotel problem, it's everywhere. I thought I was colorblind, Frank tells his therapist. Turns out I was just blind. Sarah's new role as Chief Diversity Officer has reshaped her entire perspective on hospitality management. She spends her days analyzing data patterns that were always there but never examined. The 5 pilot properties show remarkable results after just 3 weeks. Verification requests for minority guests drop 78%. Guest satisfaction scores increase 23%. Employee confidence in handling diverse guests improves 45%. 0 discrimination incidents reported. But the data that shocks her most, Guest diversity increases 31% at pilot properties. Word spreads quickly in communities that historically avoided luxury hotels. Dr. Patricia has become an unexpected spokesperson for the initiative. Her LinkedIn post about witnessing the incident has been shared 50,000 times. She's invited to speak at medical conferences about bias in healthcare settings. "What I witnessed at the Meridian wasn't unique," she tells audiences. "It was just finally recorded." How many times do we make assumptions about patients based on appearance? How many diagnoses do we delay because of unconscious bias? Her advocacy extends beyond hotels to systemic bias in professional environments. Ashley's live stream launched her into social media stardom. Her follower count exploded from 85,000 to 2.3 million overnight. But she's using her platform responsibly, documenting positive changes at hotels implementing bias training. She's partnered with Meridian to create dignity check videos, real-time documentation of improved guest experiences. The series has become educational content for hospitality schools nationwide. Marcus's challenge to competitors yields unexpected results. Within 3 weeks, Hyatt announces a $25 million bias monitoring initiative. Marriott partners with Howard University for diversity consulting. Hilton implements anonymous bias reporting systems company-wide. 4 smaller chains adopt modified versions of Project Dignity. The competition isn't just matching Marcus's standards, they're trying to exceed them. Discrimination has become a competitive disadvantage industry-wide. The AI monitoring system produces fascinating data. Bias incidents correlate strongly with employee stress levels, inadequate training, and management pressure to maintain standards. Most incidents aren't malicious. They're subconscious responses to implicit bias training that never happened. The system identifies patterns, triggers immediate intervention, and prevents escalation. More importantly, it's changing behavior. Employees know they're being monitored for bias, making them more conscious of their interactions with all guests. David Harrison has fielded dozens of calls from corporate legal departments seeking guidance. The Meridian approach, immediate accountability plus systemic reform, is becoming the industry standard for discrimination response. 3 class action lawsuits against other hotel chains reference the Meridian standard as benchmark expectations for bias prevention and response. Marcus stands in the same lobby where he was humiliated 3 weeks ago. The marble floors look identical, but everything has changed. Staff interactions feel different, more genuine, less performative. He watches a young black businessman check in smoothly, treated with the same respect as every other guest. No extra verification, no suspicious glances, no whispered conversations among staff. That's what $15 million in bias training looks like: normal human dignity. The real victory isn't revenge against Emma, Bradley, or Frank. It's watching thousands of travelers experience hospitality without fear, suspicion, or the exhausting burden of proving they belong. Sometimes, the most profound changes happen quietly, one interaction at a time. Marcus Williams sits in his Chicago office, reviewing the quarterly diversity report. The numbers tell a story that goes beyond profit margins. Project Dignity has expanded to all 347 Meridian properties worldwide, 0 discrimination incidents reported in the past 90 days. But the real victory appears in smaller details. Guest reviews mention feeling genuinely welcomed at rates 67% higher than industry averages. Employee satisfaction scores have reached record highs. The company that nearly lost everything to a viral discrimination video has become the hospitality industry's gold standard for inclusion. Emma Rodriguez graduated from the Bias Education Program and found employment at a nonprofit focused on workplace diversity training. Her experience at Meridian, once a source of shame, now serves as a powerful teaching tool for other professionals confronting their unconscious prejudices. Bradley Hayes completed his certification and returned to luxury hospitality with a deeper understanding of guest dignity. He's become a mentor for new managers, sharing his story as a cautionary tale about assumptions and their consequences. Frank Morrison uses his military background to train security personnel across the hospitality industry. His courses, titled Threat Assessment versus Bias Response, have been adopted by major hotel chains nationwide. Harvard Business School features the Meridian incident as required curriculum in their MBA program. Students analyze the crisis management, the accountability response, and the systemic reforms that followed. Dr. Patricia Williams has delivered keynote speeches at medical conferences in 12 countries, connecting bias in hospitality to bias in healthcare. Her research on assumption-based service failures has influenced training protocols in multiple industries. What began as one man's humiliating experience has reshaped an entire sector. Hotel chains now compete on inclusion metrics. Bias-free guarantee has become a marketing differentiator. Travel websites feature diversity ratings alongside amenities and pricing. Ashley's documentary about the incident, The Williams Effect, premiered at Sundance and streams on major platforms. It's sparked conversations about discrimination in restaurants, retail, and service industries worldwide. Marcus has shared his story at corporate leadership summits, congressional hearings on discrimination, and university commencements. But his most powerful moment comes during quiet hotel visits, watching staff interact naturally with diverse guests. The measure of change isn't in policies or procedures, he tells audiences. It's in the absence of fear when a tired traveler approaches a reception desk. These real-life stories remind us that touching stories of transformation often begin with moments of pain. Black stories like Marcus's reflect broader struggles for dignity and respect that persist across industries and institutions. The Meridian Grand Hotel still operates at the same Chicago address. The marble floors remain polished. The crystal chandeliers still gleam. But something fundamental has changed in that lobby, and in hundreds of similar lobbies across the world. Have you experienced discrimination in public spaces? Your voice matters. Share your experiences in the comments below. Every story shared helps build awareness and accountability. Have you witnessed bias and wondered how to respond? Subscribe for more stories of quiet courage transforming systems from within. Share this video if you believe in the power of turning humiliation into progress, prejudice into policy change, and personal pain into societal transformation. Because sometimes the most important revolutions begin with one person standing calmly at a reception desk, refusing to accept being treated as less than human. The next time someone underestimates you, remember Marcus Williams. Your response might just change everything.